Well, after weeks of talks, the Biden administration has now signaled that it could be willing to ease sanctions against key elements of Iran's economy, including the critical oil and financial sectors, in order to bridge the gap that still exists in the nuclear talks underway in Vienna. A report in the Wall Street Journal overnight says we still don't know exactly what type of sanctions could be eased or which Iranian entities stand to benefit the most. But this could have significant implications for Iran's economy, which has been crippled by those US sanctions and the pandemic. Take a look at this chart, and it shows that after the first nuclear deal was signed in 2015, growth surged to 12.5%. But that was short-lived. Remember, when President Trump took office, he enacted the maximum pressure campaign. And the chart also shows the Iranian economy has been in significant decline ever since. It contracted by 5% last year as the one-two punch of those mega sanctions and the pandemic hit hard. But the uptick that you see at the end of the chart there shows we are starting to see a turnaround. The IMF is now forecasting 3% growth for the Iranian economy this year. Why? Well, that's because oil production and exports are starting to bounce back. Sanctions have taken most Iranian crude off the market, but oil production and exports are up since the US election in November, and Iran has been able to skirt those sanctions and sell its oil to countries like China by using ghost ships and transfers. We understand the US could even ease sanctions against Iran's national oil company and its tanker companies, and that has the potential to ramp up exports even further. That's going to be critical to watch, especially if you're trading oil or following the oil supply narrative closely. Now, there's another chart to look at, and this one focuses on economic activity outside of oil. It's understood sanctions could also be eased on several important sectors like steel, aluminum, and others. And Iran's industrial metals, which make up a huge source of export revenue, are key here. There could even be sanctions relief for sectors like textiles, autos, shipping, even insurance. And those are sectors that were all flagged to gain from the original 2015 agreement. The last chart to look at focuses on the fiscal deficit, which is widening as the Iranian government continues to spend beyond its means. This is pushing up the national debt and crushing the budget. The currency is hurting, inflation is high, unemployment is expected to be above 10% this year. And bottom line, this is an economy in dire straits, in desperate need for US sanctions relief. Now, exactly how far the Americans are willing to go when it comes to sanctions relief remains to be seen. Of course, the question of Iranian compliance is also open-ended. However, the reports that we've been hearing from inside the room would suggest that these talks are heading in the right direction, and we could see a new Iran nuclear deal coming together very soon.